During this pandemic of corona infection all over the world, we have been noticing several drug therapies and several varieties of therapies coming across, of which all of you know about hydroxychloroquine therapy. Hydroxychloroquine is a simple tablet that is routinely and usually given to the people with malaria, and also we give it to some of the patients with a kidney disease secondary to SLE and lupus nephritis. But these drugs are very common and simple. This can be given to asymptomatic people also. It can be given as a prophylactic therapy. It can be given to the people who are having a mild to moderate kind of infection. But what about those patients who are very sick? Sick patient means those who are on ventilator, those who are in intensive care, in altered sensorium, those patients who are having a kidney failure, liver failure and lung failure. So, how to treat them? It is very, very difficult. In fact, we can detect more and more number of patients with a COVID infection. We can treat them with a simple drug therapies including paracetamol, and probably they might really improve also. You all know that 70% of the patients in our country are asymptomatic. So, they do not really require any kind of a drug therapy also, but the major part of our treatment should be to aim to decrease the number of mortalities in our people. So, how to decrease the mortality? That is the most important thing. See, we have seen the Spain, Italy and American countries where more number of mortalities are taking place. So, we should not get into such a kind of a problem. Let us screen more and more people, let us detect more and more positive cases, let us quarantine more and more cases, let us isolate more and more cases, but we should not lose a single patient. That should be the motto for us. So, how to prevent mortality in our group of people? So, there are several methods which have been followed in the previous years, and especially when we had similar kind of a pandemic episodes all over the world, we have used certain modalities of therapies to improve the patient's general condition, of which the plasma therapy is very, very important. Plasma therapy is truly a form of convalescent plasma therapy. It is not just simply giving a plasma to just like that. And we have been treating the kidney failure patients and other patients, even in severe sepsis, where the plasma is extracted from the patients and they will be infused with a good plasma of a normal ordinary healthy person. So, that is how they lose the blood antibodies in the blood which are there in the plasma, and so that they can be infused or transfused with a good plasma from a healthy volunteers. But here this is a different kind of a variety, the convalescent plasma. Convalescent plasma is something different from those patients who are treated routinely with the plasmapheresis for various medical other conditions. So, here the convalescent plasma is the plasma of a person who was having an infection episode few weeks prior to this and developed some kind of a good antibodies in the blood. That there are two varieties of antibodies that we develop whenever we get some infection, especially the virus and the bacteria. So, these are called IgG and IgM. IgM antibody is the one which develops very early and rapidly, but it is very transient phenomenon. It can disappear after few days and the weeks. Whereas, the IgG antibodies are the one which can develop very slowly and gradually and picks up in a high quantity, and also they will be sustained in the blood for a very, very long time. Probably that can sustain for years together, and we do not even know for how long they can sustain also in a human life. But these are rich in antibodies that can really help the human body in combating these kind of viral infections. So, the concept is that we take out the blood from the people, separate out the plasma, and those patients who had an episode of infection, for example, 14 to 28 days after an episode of viral infection, usually they will have a peak of antibody production, and especially those with the proven cases after 14 days, or those with the unproven cases where the plasma has got this particular IgG antibodies in a dilution of 1 in 640, we can actually take this blood, take out the plasma or separate out the plasma in them, check the antibody titers in them. If at all the antibody titers are more than 1 is 640, then the particular plasma is supposed to be very good and is a very good convalescent plasma. This plasma can be transfused to a person who is having very sick status and admitted in intensive care in a sick status. So, these people can be treated effectively with that. So, this is a simple concept, nothing really great about it, and taking out the plasma is very simple. Any good blood bank can really do that, and checking the titers may be little bit difficult nowadays because the kits are not available everywhere to detect the antibody titers in the blood. And the third one is that this is very, very simple to transfuse the plasma to a person who is very sick, and it does not really require a big machinery also, and it does not really require a good expertise also. It is a very simple mechanism to treat and a simple methodology to administer to the human beings. So, it can be a good bet to give it to the people who are very sick and where we do not have any hopes of any kind of a therapy available nowadays, and our endeavor is to see that the patients improve and the number of mortality decreases, and more and more patients they improve despite being very sick. So, our intention is to see that the sick patients who are admitted into the intensive care in altered sensorium with the lung failure, kidney failure, heart failure and liver failure and multi-organ dysfunction, they should be able to improve with the plasma therapy. Plasma therapy is here to stay and probably is going to make some difference in the future, and plasma therapy is definitely is going to improve this kind of many patients who are very sick, but this cannot be given ordinary to each and every patient with a cough and cold. And mild to moderate patients, mild to moderate disease, we do not have to give any kind of a therapy to them except some symptomatic therapy that includes the paracetamol. And sick patients should be given plasma therapy, and every government, every institution should have their own protocol, how much plasma to be taken out of a donor and when to take out the plasma from a donor, and what should be the ideal and approximate titer it should be, and how to select out the patients to be receiving going to receive this particular plasma therapy, and what are the inclusion and exclusion criteria for those patients who should be administered with the plasma therapy, and how to transfuse, how many minutes it should take, and how to monitor these patients before, during and after the plasma therapy. All these things should be written in a protocol in a strict and stringent manner, and that should be adherent to all the doctors who are treating the patients, and then only you can start this kind of a therapy. I think I heard that the Chitta Tirunal Institute in Kerala has sent a proposal to Government of India, especially the ICMR, and I think they got the positive nod from them, and most of the government institutions and the hospitals in the country are going to take up this issue, which is not at all a big issue and not at all a big procedure, and not going to have any kind of major complications associated with that. And plasma therapy is a simple therapy that can be given. If it works out to be something great and something good and beneficial to the patient, then it is going to really decrease the number of mortality secondary to COVID infection. We do not have to say that it is a perfect treatment, because our experience is very less as far as this particular therapy of COVID infection is concerned, but plasmapheresis as such and infusion of the plasma as such and infusion of immunoglobulins as such is very well experienced by the people across the world. And there are many doctors in different conditions and different varieties of clinical modalities, the people have used it, and it is supposed to be a very good one. But in this particular COVID infection, we are supposed to see whether it is going to be beneficial or not. Time alone can really tell us. A randomized control trial can really throw more light on this, and we are going to be more enriched with the knowledge and experience after a few weeks, and then only we can answer more confidently that this is the patient with the COVID infection. The protocol being used by the various hospitals in this country are not revealed. In fact, ICMR also did not give any kind of a guideline that this particular therapy only should be given to each and every patient, and it is not possible also to make out such a protocol immediately to treat the COVID patients in our country. And every institution, every organization has got probably made their own protocol to treat the patients of mild, moderate and severe cases. And as such, the Government of India through ICMR has given a notice to all the healthcare facility people to administer only hydroxychloroquine therapy. But in my view, hydroxychloroquine is not going to make much difference, and we are not supposed to use it just like that. And hydroxychloroquine therapy has got its own complications. It should be given to only particular proven cases, and it really did not make much difference as far as the literature which is available nowadays is concerned. The very first study which is showing the use of hydroxychloroquine along with azithromycin is not at all a good study that is done in a more scientific way, and it has got several fallacies and the caveats. And despite knowing about the caveats of the particular study, this has been very well publicized across the world that hydroxychloroquine along with azithromycin is going to make a difference. But unfortunately, good number of the people who used this particular protocol had a mortality. Even in our country, the 2 doctors who have taken azithromycin along with hydroxychloroquine died soon after taking it. And we do not know the effect of this particular individual. Without knowing the cardiac status of the patient, without knowing vulnerability for the mortality in those patients, we should not just like that administer hydroxychloroquine, more so in association with azithromycin. Hydroxychloroquine should be given cautiously, and whether that is going to be useful or not, we do not know. The same doctor who has done initially with azithromycin to hydroxychloroquine has done hydroxychloroquine therapy alone in more than 1000 patients and found that probably did not really make much difference as far as the outcome is concerned. But interesting thing is that 90% of the patients improved, which otherwise also in COVID infection more than 90% of the patients would improve. The mortality secondary to COVID infection is 6 to 8% in a very richly abundantly affected areas, unlike our country. In our country, it is only 2.8 to 2.9% of the patients only had a mortality. So naturally, most of the patients who are affected with this particular virus are going to improve, So, in that way the similar observation of more than 90% improvement with the drug therapy is not going to be a beneficial one to us. So, we are treating almost all the patients only with a symptomatic therapy, that includes the paracetamol and simple antibiotic therapies, and there may be here and there some protocols which are randomizing them, and this is the time for ICMR also to approve almost all the protocols of every government institution whenever they are getting some kind of a proposal to treat. And we have been noticing that not only the hydroxychloroquine, some of the anti-HIV drugs and some of the new drugs which are meant for this particular COVID virus also are into the market, and many of them are using it across the world, and even in India also. Other than the hydroxychloroquine therapy, some of the anti-HIV drugs are also being used, and the plasma therapy also being used in those patients who are very sick. But as such, we do not have a single protocol or a uniform protocol for across the country to be used by all the doctors who are treating the COVID infection. But I feel personally that every institution should have their own protocol, and everybody should be able to randomize the protocols, because we do not even know which protocol is going to be the best one. So, till then we need to use the protocol as per the institution policy, and we need to come out with a gross guidelines after few months, and it is going to take some more time, and probably by the time we might be having lot of cases being positive and more mortalities also we might see, but there is no other go. As such, we do not have any good therapy or a wonderful therapy for a COVID infection. We need to explore more and more therapies, and we need to see which one is going to be the best one after few days.